They said I'd never amount to anything. Those words still echo in my mind, even now, as I sit in my penthouse overlooking the city where I grew up invisible. My parents, Linda and Robert, made sure I knew exactly where I stood in their world, at the very bottom. While my golden child brother Marcus got private tutors, designer clothes, and college funds, I got hand-me-downs and constant reminders of my failures. "Why can't you be more like Marcus?" became the soundtrack of my childhood. When Marcus made the varsity football team, they threw him a celebration party. When I graduated valedictorian, they barely looked up from their phones. The final blow came on my 18th birthday. I'll never forget that moment, sitting at our kitchen table, watching them hand Marcus the keys to a brand new BMW while sliding me a bus pass across the table. "Happy birthday, honey," my mother said with that fake smile she'd perfected. "Time you learned to be independent." That night, as I lay in my tiny bedroom listening to them plan Marcus's gap year trip to Europe, something inside me shattered. But little did I know, the universe was about to reveal a secret that would change everything. A secret my parents had been desperately hiding from me for 18 long years. 3 weeks after being kicked out of my family home, I was staying with my best friend Jake when his grandmother mentioned something that stopped me cold. "Such a shame about your grandfather's old house," she said casually while making tea. "That beautiful mansion just sitting empty all these years." My blood ran cold. "What mansion?" I asked, my voice barely a whisper. Her face went white. "Oh dear, I thought you knew. Your grandfather's estate, the one your parents inherited when he passed 10 years ago." The room started spinning. My grandfather, my mother's father, had died when I was 8, and I was told he left nothing behind, just an old man who lived alone in a small apartment. But Jake's grandmother painted a very different picture. She told me about the sprawling estate on Maple Hill, the one with the iron gates and the garden that was once the talk of the town. That weekend, I borrowed Jake's car and drove to Maple Hill, and there it was, a magnificent Victorian mansion hidden behind overgrown trees and rusted gates. My hands shook as I climbed the fence, my heart pounding with each step toward the front door. Inside, the house was like a time capsule. Dust-covered furniture, family portraits I'd never seen, and in the study, a wall safe that stood slightly open. Inside that safe, I found documents that would destroy the people who destroyed me. Bank statements, property deeds, stock certificates, and a will. My grandfather's will. According to these papers, my grandfather wasn't just wealthy, he was worth $1.2 billion, and every single penny of it was supposed to be mine. The will was crystal clear. Everything, the mansion, the investments, the offshore accounts, was left to my beloved granddaughter, Sarah, to be held in trust until her 21st birthday. My parents weren't just keeping my inheritance from me, they were stealing it. I discovered they'd been living off my money for years. Marcus's private school fees, their luxury cars, their annual vacations to the Bahamas, all funded by my grandfather's fortune. They'd forged documents, bribed officials, and convinced everyone that the will had left everything to them as Sarah's guardians. But the most crushing betrayal was yet to come. Hidden in a folder marked personal, I found letters. Dozens of letters from my grandfather to me, starting when I was 9 years old. Birthday cards, Christmas gifts, letters telling me how proud he was of my achievements, how he couldn't wait to see me grow up. Every single one had been intercepted by my parents. In his final letter, dated just weeks before his death, he wrote, "My dearest Sarah, you are the light of my life. I know your parents don't appreciate your brilliance, but I do. Everything I've built is yours because I know you'll use it to make the world better. Happy early 18th birthday, my angel." I sat on that dusty floor and cried for hours, not just for the money, but for the grandfather who loved me, who saw my worth when my own parents couldn't. They hadn't just stolen my inheritance, they'd stolen my relationship with the one person who truly believed in me. They wanted to play games? Fine, but they had no idea who they were dealing with now. I spent the next 2 months preparing my revenge like a chess master planning checkmate. First, I copied every document, every bank statement, every piece of evidence. Then I reached out to my grandfather's old lawyer, Mr. Harrison, who nearly fainted when I walked into his office. "Sarah? But how did you— Your parents said you died in a car accident 3 years ago." Even in death, they'd tried to erase me completely. Mr. Harrison explained that he'd been wondering why I never contacted him about the inheritance, but my parents had convinced me I was gone. With tears in his eyes, he promised to help me reclaim what was rightfully mine. But I didn't just want the money back. I wanted them to feel the same worthlessness they made me feel my entire life. So I devised a plan that would destroy them slowly, piece by piece, just like they destroyed me. Phase 1, I used a small emergency fund from the estate to enroll in college under a scholarship program, excelling in business and finance. I needed to be smart about this. Phase 2. I started anonymously purchasing the companies and properties my parents' friends owned, slowly building a network of influence they didn't know existed. Phase 3, the revelation that would bring their world crashing down. It was Marcus's college graduation day, the golden child's moment of triumph. They'd invited half the town to celebrate at the country club, spending thousands more of my money on champagne and catering. I walked in wearing a simple black dress, my hair pulled back, looking nothing like the broken 18-year-old they'd thrown away 3 years ago. The room went silent as I approached their table. "Hello, Mother, Father," I said calmly. My mother's champagne glass slipped from her hand, shattering on the marble floor. "Sarah? But how? What are you doing here?" "I'm here to collect what's mine." That's when Mr. Harrison stepped forward with a folder of legal documents. "Ladies and gentlemen," he announced to the entire party, "I'm here to execute the will of the late Theodore Mitchell, Sarah's grandfather." The color drained from both their faces as he began reading the will aloud. Every word echoed through that silent ballroom like thunder. The gasps from their friends, the whispers of fraud and theft spreading through the crowd like wildfire. The estate, valued at $1.2 billion, belongs entirely to Sarah Mitchell. Furthermore, we'll be pursuing criminal charges for fraud, embezzlement, and identity theft. Marcus, who'd been silent through the entire revelation, finally spoke up. "Is this real? Did you really steal from your own daughter?" My mother tried to stammer an explanation, but no words came. My father just sat there, his face buried in his hands, knowing their world was ending. 6 months later, my parents lost everything. Their house, their cars, their social status, all gone. They're now living in a small apartment across town, both working minimum wage jobs to pay for their legal fees. Marcus cut all ties with them, and last I heard he's working as a teacher in another state, trying to build an honest life. But here's the thing, I didn't feel the satisfaction I thought I would. Seeing them broken didn't heal the broken child inside me. So I made a decision that surprised everyone, including myself. I established the Theodore Mitchell Foundation for Abandoned and Neglected Children. Half of my inheritance now goes to kids who feel worthless, who are told they'll never amount to anything. I've opened 3 residential facilities where children can live with dignity, pursue their dreams, and know that someone believes in them. My parents? I offered them jobs at the foundation, minimum wage, cleaning and maintenance positions. They see every day the impact of what they stole from me, not just money, but love, support, and belief. My mother broke down crying the first day she saw the wall of photos, hundreds of children who now have hope because of my grandfather's money. "I'm so sorry," she whispered. "I was wrong about everything." Sometimes the greatest revenge isn't destroying those who hurt you, it's becoming everything they said you could never be. My parents thought they were burying me, but they were actually planting seeds that would grow into something they could never imagine. Today, I'm not just wealthy, I'm fulfilled. Every child who finds hope through the foundation proves that their cruelty didn't define me, it refined me. And you know what's funny? Marcus visits sometimes. He tells me he always knew I was special, that he hated how they treated me. We're rebuilding our relationship slowly, and I'm learning that not all family bonds have to be broken forever. The little girl who was told she'd be nothing is now making sure no child ever has to feel that worthless again. That's not just revenge, that's justice, that's healing, that's love winning over hate, one child at a time.